Another new signing at Norwich City. Everton goalkeeper John Ruddy has joined the club on a 3-year deal for an undisclosed fee. The 23-year-old joined the Premier League outfit from Cambridge United in 2005. He's had loan spells for a number of clubs, including Stockport County. Last season, he played in Scotland.
Now, our soft fruits are at their best just now, and some of you will have been tempted to preserve those summer flavours in some homemade jam.
Delicious, and that's exactly how one of the region's most famous companies started out 125 years ago, when an Essex farmer made his first batch of strawberry jam in the village of Tiptree.
Today, the Tiptree Jam Factory is as busy as ever, and as the business celebrates its anniversary, I've been meeting the people who've helped play a part in its success. It's the workforce at this factory in Tiptree that helps maintain the feel of a family business. Sons and daughters have followed in the footsteps of mums, dads, aunties and uncles. And 10 years ago, staff were made shareholders of the company. David Cross has worked here for 50 years.
They used to measure every month on a cabinet up in the next room there, see how much we'd grown. I think that's how I grew, because I kept stretching.
Jam has been made in Tiptree now for 125 years, ever since farmer Arthur Charles Wilkin diversified into fruit growing, and his first batch of jam was an instant success.
First year's production was, I think, in the kitchen, my great-grandmother's kitchen. She wasn't too pleased about that, I'm sure. But it was all happened to be all sold to Australia, because Arthur Charles happened to know an Australian merchant.
These days, the products, which include Christmas puddings, sauces and fresh fruit, are exported to around 70 countries, and the operation is on a much larger scale. Today, they're making raspberry jam. The fruit is mixed with syrup and boiled before disappearing down a pipe into the next room, where it's poured into jars. In 1950, this was the first automatic machine to fill jam jars. Before then, filling was done by hand, with each person averaging around 20 jars per minute. This machine could do 60 per minute, but the equipment they have now can do 180. But there are times when old-fashioned methods continue to be used, especially when it comes to mulberries. With every core having to be cut out by hand, they don't produce enough in bulk to require the machine.
These mulberry trees are far and away the oldest trees that we have on the estate, and they date from the original planting of fruit. The Wilkin family first planted fruit here about 150 years ago. So to the best of any of our knowledge and records, these trees are actually 150 years old.
With 1,000 acres of farmland, 300 of those dedicated to fruit, the company has been using international pickers since the 1950s. These workers are from Bulgaria, and some will be here for 6 months. There have been difficult times over the years, with one member of the family admitting having to sell a horse to pay for wages. But the company has managed to remain independent and has plans to expand. As shareholders, it's the dedicated workforce who will ultimately determine its future. Victoria Webb, Anglia News, Tiptree.
Oh, well, I'm just salivating. Oh, I mean, we've got some wonderful jam makers in our region, haven't we? But did you have a favourite one out of all of those or not?
Typically, I like the most expensive.
What a surprise.
It was that one that you saw them taking so much effort.
Extraordinary, isn't it? Did it taste that good as well, after all these little bits pulled out of it?
Yeah, I think it's worth it, but quite liked all of them, really, to be honest.
Now, England may be out of the World Cup and a Brit didn't win Wimbledon, but so what? We do have a sporting hero living right here in our region.
We do indeed. You may not have heard of him. His name's Fergie. No, not Sir Alex Ferguson, his Manchester United boss. No, this Fergie has just won the prestigious North Road Championships. He is a racing pigeon, owned by 74-year-old Ray Farrington from Great Abington near Cambridge, and Stuart Leiths has been along to meet them.
Since 1947, Ray Farrington's been a pigeon fancier, following in the footsteps of his father and grandfather. And at the age of 74, he's finally won the prestigious North Road Championship, with his bird Fergie now back home at Ray's Loft in Great Abington near Cambridge.
It's something you always dream about, but you honestly don't think it'll ever happen to you. And when it was confirmed that I was going to win it, I was absolutely ecstatic.
The winner is the pigeon that achieves the fastest average speed over its distance home from Lerwick in the Shetland Isles. Fergie here managed to travel 558 miles in 18 hours and 40 minutes, which means he achieved a speed of around 30 miles an hour. But racing pigeons have been known to travel at up to 70 miles an hour if they have a tailwind. Fergie, who's named after the Manchester United manager Sir Alex Ferguson, even beat pigeons from the Queen's own loft at Sandringham.
There was a lot of others, you know, real top fan, well, beat all the top fancies really, which is, you know, I think was absolutely incredible.
While Fergie's win is a triumph for Ray, he fears the sport he loves so much is slowly dying out.
Nowadays, there's so much for the youngsters to do, and they're just not coming into the sport, which, you know, that's up to the individual. But it's a shame, I think, really, that we haven't got more. We don't get many youngsters coming now.
But for Ray, it's still a time to celebrate with Fergie the pigeon, who's finally helped him to achieve his lofty ambitions. Stuart Leiths, Anglia News, Great Abington near Cambridge.
Oh, I'd say they find a few people to carry it on, eh?
Yes.
The tradition. Next time there's a World Cup, it's obvious what we're going to be doing. We're watching pigeon racing from now on. Well, from a bird to a web. See what I did there? Don't forget our website at itv.com/Anglia. What can you do there?
Well, you can watch items from the programme, plus there's a full weather forecast for the Anglia region.
Yep, so you can get along to that. Right, let's catch up with the national team now for a look at what's coming up in the rest of the news hour in a couple of minutes from now. Oh, that's Irina from Norfolk,
She's doing well, isn't she?
She's doing very well, climbing into national now.
Well, let's see how long this warm weather's going to last. Here's Amanda Houston.
And have a lovely evening from us as well. We'll see you tomorrow night from all of us here. Have a good evening.
Goodbye.